Oh, yeah. Patriot Radio News Hour. Happy Tuesday. And I'm going to tell you, it is cold here on the Front Range, live in the Johnstown studios. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group and legal, lawful, constitutional, biblical tender. It is what we do. Modesty prevents me from telling you how good we are at it, but we're pretty good. 25 years we've been doing this. The website at allamericangold.com, and just a huge shout out to all our talk show hosts and advertisers that were at our event last night. We had a great time, great food. Big shout outs to Kara and Dr. Wayne Hoffman. For really, they did all the work. You know, we just showed up, but Karen and Dr. Wayne did all the work. We actually signed up some new show hosts, some new advertisers. It was just a great event and a lot of fun. And again, thank you to everybody that was there last night. And the food was absolutely delicious. So that part was awesome. After that, it was no fun because then I had to go outside, sit in my car. You know, in Arizona, you go in, and the worst thing that happens is you burn yourself on the steering wheel or the metal part of the seat belt because it's too hot. In Colorado, in the wintertime, let's just say I sat in my car at the hotel. And it felt like a half hour. It was probably only 15 minutes, but it felt like I was sitting there for a half hour just to defrost the windshield and the windows. And it was the weirdest thing because it's like a film, this thin film of ice that covered the entire car. It was, I don't even know what the temperature was. I didn't even look because I didn't want to know. But I'm told that by tomorrow it's going to be like in the mid-40s and everything's going to melt and it'll be wonderful. But yeah, let's just say, I'm a Valley of the Sun guy. If I had my choice between sitting there freezing or the steering wheel's too hot, I'll go with the steering wheel's too hot every day of the week. But other than that, it's been a great trip up here. Obviously we sell gold, we buy gold. Silver, platinum, palladium. We've actually done both of those things here already this morning. 800-951-0592. We are closing in. We are now 1 week away from the election. It looks like Coney Barrett is going to be on the Supreme Court. She has passed through those protocols. The Democrats are unhappy. That's one of the other things, too. Are they going to, if Biden wins, are they going to try to add more seats to the Supreme Court so they can have more liberals in there? All of that to be decided. If you haven't voted yet, what are you waiting for? Over half the country's already done it. It's the weirdest thing. And I don't think I like it. I've decided, we almost had like 40 or 50 million people vote before the last debates. That really, I don't think that makes too much sense. But anyway, enough about that because it really doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't, I guess. If Biden wins, gold runs higher earlier. Trump wins, gold's still higher. And it's going to be, but higher, maybe a little bit later. But either way, the spending train does not stop. No talk of stimulus. So they're going to, I think now we're probably looking at election after the election, and then they're going to have to hustle. And I don't like it. Again, this is going to be a tougher Christmas the longer they wait. One of the things we're going to talk about today, gold. How much gold is left out in the world? And there was a big headline on the news late yesterday, talking about a 67 million ounce deposit. And they acted like it just got discovered. That's the headline. The deposit, by the way, this deposit is in Russia. If you ever played the game Risk, me and my brothers called it Irktux. That was, where, one of the countries in risk, Irktux. This is where this deposit was, somewhere in like the middle of Siberia, 67 million ounces. Just to give you perspective, we haven't found a gold deposit of over 10 million ounces in 30 years. So this would have been huge news if the headline, which led you to believe they just found it, was true. The problem was this deposit, this 67 million ounce deposit, was discovered a long, long time ago. Matter of fact, to give you kind of an idea of how long ago, 1961. It was discovered by Soviet geologists. They studied it in the 70s. The problem was it's so remote, it's so difficult to mine that it wasn't actually worth putting in the infrastructure to start mining the gold. And even now, this 67 million ounce deposit is still not being mined. So you think about it, it's already been 60 years. It just kind of gives you an idea of how hard it really is to get. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. And just think, a little over a week from now, is that what we're going to be doing? We're going to be hiding out in the cellar as the fighting is about ready to begin? Let's hope not. I hope not. Unfortunately, I can almost guarantee it. More riots in Philadelphia. I don't know if you saw that. And this guy's got a knife out there. I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Law and order needs to be restored, and I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't know when it will happen. I think we are in a period now of social unrest, economic decay, moral decay. You think about we'll open the bars but not the churches, and all these crazy things that we've done. There's a price to be paid for that kind of stuff. And not to mention throw all the debt and all that other stuff on top of it, and you can understand why it is so many people are flocking into gold and into silver. And I wanted to spend today, because of this deposit, this 67 million ounces, it's the largest unmined deposit left in the world. And to think about, hey, they found this in 1961. And now it's 2020. It's 60 years later. And it's still not mined. Matter of fact, Bloomberg says it will remain untouched for the foreseeable future. And that in order to get this to be mined, they are going to have to spend billions of dollars in infrastructure. Things that you don't think about. Like everyone, we think about, you got to have roads, right? You got to have power. Because, the mines, let's face it, mining a gold mine operation like this, you're talking a lot of power, right? And then you got to have the trucks, and these trucks, they're not like the truck you're driving around on the freeway on. You're not driving down the I-25 in one of these trucks, these mining trucks. Think of a semi, okay? A semi with the 18-wheeler with the bed and everything. That thing is tiny compared to these rock trucks at these mining operations. These things are massive. If you're a 6-foot tall human being, you're not even as tall as the tire on one of these things. That's how big these things are. So think about the road that you've got to put in. You can't have, the road that they're building, a regular street where the cars. No. these roads have to, not only do they have to be massive, you got to remember a rock truck with a payload in it. You're talking about tons of weight. So these things, it's a lot. An airport, people don't even think about that. You've got to have the ability to get the gold to an airport because these places are in the middle of nowhere. Here's the other problem. This is in Russia, right? The country that mines the most gold in the world. For a lot of years, that used to be the United States. Of course, OSHA and all the tree huggers, they took care of that. And plus the fact that there's just not that much gold left here. Then for decades, it was South Africa. You know, South Africa, they're miles under the ground. And every year, they just keep falling and falling and falling. Most of the world's gold production now resides in the Eastern Hemisphere. China, Russia, Australia. That's where most of the gold mined in the world is. Here's the problem with that. That gold very rarely gets here. China doesn't export any gold. They're the largest miner in the world right now. In terms of ounces, and really in gold mining, they talk about metric tons. No one mines more gold than the Chinese. But they don't export any of it. Here's the other thing. No one imports more gold than the Chinese. And then, of course, we know about India. They love gold. India and China and gold consumption, and you throw in China's mining, they already, all by themselves, take up about 2/3 of all the gold that gets mined. The Russians, we know Russia's been adding to its gold reserves. I can promise you this. I don't know what the cost of gold has to be for them to start mining here. My guess is $5,000, maybe $10,000 an ounce before it becomes economically viable. And by that point, I don't think the Russians will be selling any of that gold. And this is kind of the thing when we talk about, you know, what's going to come next with the digital currency and the devaluation and all of these things. A lot of people are speculating that one of these Eastern nations, and my fear is that China and Russia are going to do this together. They're going to launch a digital currency and have it backed by gold because they have it and we don't. You know, we have 8,000 metric tons allegedly, and I say allegedly because no one's ever counted it. Most of the gold, if you want to believe the mint directors, is not in good delivery form. So if you owned something, but you couldn't sell it on the open market, okay, is it worth anything if you can't sell it? Right now, according to our government, the majority of the gold that is held inside Fort Knox, which, by the way, not all of our gold's in Fort Knox, just so you know. I think just under 5,000 metric tons is there. It's not in gold delivery form. So in order for a gold bar to be sold on the open market, it has to weigh somewhere very close to 400 ounces. And it's one of these weird things. It's not exact. Because you've seen, if you ever seen Gold Rush or any of these documentaries on gold, right? They liquefy it and they pour it into a cast, and it's not exact, right? One bar maybe 399 ounces, another bar maybe 401 ounces, but it's going to be in the ballpark of 400 ounces. In the case of the COMEX, it can be 100 ounces. Okay, so those are the two sizes. London, 400 ounces, and now both, actually, they've changed the rules, so I'm out of date here. Now they accept 100-ounce and 400-ounce bars. And like I said, it's not exact. The purity has to be 9995. So pretty much almost pure gold. 24 karat gold is 9999. Now for all of you people that like gold jewelry, all of you know you don't want to have 24 karat gold. 24 karat gold, it's so soft. Just taking it off and throwing it in your jewelry box with your other jewelry, it'll scratch it all up. So pure gold is one of those things you really don't want it. You want to have some hardness to it so you can stack coins on each other and not scratch them all up and all that other stuff. But that's the purity and the weights that you would need your gold to be if you wanted to sell it on the open market. According to our mint directors, that is not the form that most of our gold is in, which just leads me to pause. So you're telling me in 1933, when they confiscated all this gold from the citizenry, so you think about your $20 Saints, your $20 Liberties, your $10 Liberties, your $5 Liberties, your $10 Indians, your $5, the 2.5. I mean, you talk about all that gold that we melted it down, but we left the impurities. Matter of fact, Charles Moy, who was the head of the mint in 2012, came out and said that he's been to Fort Knox. He went into one of the vaults and said that you could still see some of the coins, like the side, some of the, I could see the side profile of Lady Liberty's face, like we melted it down just enough, but not really. And he says it's not shiny like you'd think. It's all crusty and all this other stuff. And I'm just sitting there going, okay, I mean, I want to believe him. I'm sure that's what we did. Why we did that, I have no idea. So it's just kind of interesting that that's the form it's in. You would think, if anything else, we'd go back and at least put it into delivery form, and so it's very interesting. Maybe they didn't trust themselves enough, because the other 3,000 metric tons is in good delivery form, and they could lease that out. You know, I've always questioned, do I believe there's gold in Fort Knox? I do. I want to believe what Charles Moy said, and that this is how it looks. In other words, if they gave tours of Fort Knox, you would be disappointed. You would see the gold, and it'd probably look really ugly. That'd be my guess. It'd be all black and nasty looking, and not like, not how you would picture gold to look. But I believe that there's gold there. But my question is, who owns it? who owns the rights to that gold? And when you think about the contracts on the COMEX, they only keep enough gold around that they think is going to get delivered. In other words, people are buying paper contracts, 100-ounce, 400-ounce paper gold contracts that exceed the entire mine supply of all time. No, I take all the gold that's ever been mined, and we've got paper contracts for more than that, so we can never deliver it all. So my question is, what would happen if too many people wanted delivery? Where would it come from? All as I know, there's not that much gold out there. And what's coming down the pipe in the next 5 years, the price of gold is going through the roof. 800-951-0592. I wouldn't wait very long because, like a lot of things, and we've seen it in gold in the past, we've seen it in stocks, we've seen it in our lives. Everything happens gradually until it becomes suddenly. And this is kind of the path we're on right now. We know something big is coming. We know that we don't have that much time before the next bubble burst. If on Tuesday, Joe Biden is the winner, Wednesday is going to be a very difficult day to get gold. It's just going to be. And you'll be back into the situation. Remember during Corona, during the initial shock wave? It cost you more to buy a $20 gold piece then than it does today. And gold's a couple $100 higher. But you get what you get. Right now, I'd be like, hey, here's what I've got today. Well, I want this. I don't have that. You can have this. And we're getting ready, and I've seen over the last 2 weeks the market drying up again. But when it really comes undone, and again, the election's not the big move. But when it starts to unravel, not only will it be a lot more expensive, it's going to be much harder to get. The premiums are going to be significantly higher. In other words, what you're paying over spot is going to jump by large amounts. We've seen $100 gold days. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a $50 move or $100 move. We'll see a $1,000 move. Matter of fact, one of the things that they didn't, because, the stock market, they put all kinds of limits on stuff, mostly to the downside, right? And they'll pause trading and do all this stuff. Surprisingly, in the metals markets, they don't have those things. And I think in the next 12 to 24 months, we will have our first $500 gold move. And it won't be to the downside. I think before 2025, we will see a 1,000-point move. I've been saying it for most of the year. Silver will be at new all-time record highs. I think as early as 2021, we'll see silver over $50. But what worries me, as we've gone now 30 years without a single deposit found of more than 10 million ounces. I gave you the best example I could. The largest deposit left that's unmined in Irkutsk, Siberia, is so remote, just think about the weather conditions got to be so horrible. And my guess is getting the gold out of the ground has got to be difficult. That even with gold prices at all-time record highs, it's years away. Years. Because it just is too difficult to get. And then you start thinking about all the little deposits we've been finding. The problem is they're in the same type of locales. They're remote. They're in third world countries. They're in places where there's no people live. There's no roads. There's no power. There's no cell service. There's no airport. Right? There's no workers. And who knows what else. Right? It's in the middle of a gorge or something like that, where just to build a road to get to it would be like an engineering feat. Like you got to build the Hoover Dam just to get to it. And we've been watching all of these central banks, and I know right now no one wants to talk about it, but what have they been doing? Most of them have been what? Buying gold. In other words, they're like, well, I could hold dollars. I could hold euros. Heck, I can even hold yen, pound sterling, and now the renminbi. But I think I want to take some of that and buy gold with it instead. And the list of countries doing that is so long you can't even think about it. You know how many countries are selling gold? Yeah, none. Venezuela tried a few years ago, but outside of that, right, none. And then you hear countries like the Netherlands and Germany and Poland and so many others are, hey, we want all of our gold back. Gold that's been stored in New York, in London for decades. We want it back. You know what was funny? When the gold they got back, it wasn't from the early 1900s. I mean, and I'm like, well, shouldn't it have been? I mean, my guess is like Germany's gold, right, was probably from the 1800s. You mean you didn't return the gold that they shipped to you? Oh, no. It was all brand new stuff. Now, the conspiracy side of me tells me that means we didn't have any gold to give up, right? We sold that gold a long time ago. I could be wrong. I want to be wrong. But it just tells you what I've been saying, especially lately. The final chapter for fiat money as we know it, right? It's in your billfold. It's in your purse. It's already over. They just haven't told us the last day yet. But believe me, they've told us it's over. We're going to a digital currency. And all these countries keep adding to their gold, bringing their gold home, because they know what that means. Massive devaluation is coming to the majority of people around the world. That's why I told you for almost 20 years now, be your own central bank. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Gold is up again today, 1910. Silver's up as well. It's about $24.50. The Dow is down another 150 points right now. It's at the lows and probably headed lower. no stimulus. Pfizer says that there will be no announcement about their vaccine before the election. So again, things are being delayed. Not a surprise to me. We've got rising COVID everywhere now, pretty much everywhere. After the election is going to be very interesting. Do I think more lockdowns are coming? Yes. Yep, I sure do. The last thing we should do, but that's what's going to happen, is more debt and more spending coming. Absolutely. Are more people going to lose their jobs? Yes. Is it what we should do? Hey, we can argue that all. It doesn't matter. I don't have control over it. You don't have control over it. And we've got a nation divided, right? Half the people want to wear masks and never go outside and never go to school, and grandma and grandpa never see their grandkids ever again. I mean, that's half the country. And we've got all of this crazy, crazy stuff happening. But the biggest thing is the end of fiat money. This is the buildup here. You're seeing all the central banks take all the steps I just talked about. Every one of them now is in some form of development of a digital currency. And believe me, this is going to be a devastating event. You've seen them. And we saw the crash of 87. We saw the tech bubble blow up. Then, of course, the housing market with the financial crisis that followed. This one's going to be worse. And they were. Think about it. 87 was bad. Tech bubble was worse. Right? Housing market crash and financial crisis was worse than that. Now, is it going to be the commercial real estate and this and that? I don't know. But the next one will be the last one for fiat money as we know it, because we will go digital. And believe me when I tell you, you'll have wanted to have some gold put away well before that happens. Now, it would be great. Wouldn't it be great to be able to go back to 2015 and buy gold at $1,100? Yeah. Or go back all the way to 2000 and buy it for $250. Yeah, but those days are gone. The fact that you're able to buy it below 2,000, spot below 2,000, you're going to look back 10 years from now and think that you were an absolute genius. That's the way I look at it. Yesterday, we ran the largest Indian sale in the 17 years I've been doing this. We still have both the $5 and $10 Indians. Gold's up again. Same price. Now, let me tell you what I've got on the $5 Indian. We had over 100 of them yesterday. We've got 43 of them today. Look at my exact numbers. We counted them good this time. The $10 Indians. Again, we had over 100 of those. We have 67 of those left. The $5 Indians are at $580, which means the premium above a $5 lib is zero. Matter of fact, we had a customer yesterday who didn't care. I'm buying the 5 libs anyway, even though my girl said, listen, the Indians are better. They're worth more. She goes, nope, I like the libs. I'm only buying those. So, okay, we'll sell you what you want. But we got 43 $5 Indians at $580, 67 $10 Indians at $1,090. So Indians at no premium, and I don't need to tell you now, if you're new, maybe you just started listening, you don't understand the same amount of gold as the Liberties, but the Indians are worth significantly more than the Liberties because of the fact that they minted so few of them, and the vast majority of the ones that got minted got melted down and are somewhere in Fort Knox, allegedly. So U.S. $5 Indians at $5.80, $10 Indians at $1,090. You know what's coming. And I know all of you listening out there know it. And you're like, oh, should I buy it or should I wait? Waiting's a bad idea because, listen, I don't know what day it is. Now, who knows? Nancy Pelosi tomorrow could say we've got a deal. And bam, next thing you know, gold's up $100. All as I know is we've got, in my opinion, less than 2 weeks at the most, we'll have a deal done in the next 2 weeks because you got to save Christmas. And gold and silver are both going to run when that happens. So get it done today, get it done before. Like I said, we don't know, right? Whatever the announcement's coming, but make no mistake about it, the announcement is coming. 800-951-0592. If you put a gun to my head and said double, which one should I buy? The $10 piece is less per ounce, but man, do I love those fives. So there you go. I'm not going to tell you which one of my kids I love more. I love them both the same, but man, that $5 coin, it does something to me. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up, and I'll have a silver update. 800-951-0592. Listen, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Buy it now. If this COVID thing goes the way it's looking, get ready. More shutdown. And I'm not talking to shutdowns here, okay, which I think is going to happen. But could West Point, the New York Mint, go back to reduced production? Of course it will. But look at the mines and all of these other countries where COVID's now starting to run wild. I think we're going to see another situation where the mines, the mints, all of them are on heavily reduced or unable to mine at all. And right at the time where we're going to have another big run, and supplies are going to be tight, premiums are going to be high. Believe me, this is the lowest these premiums are going to get. So take the time, put them away. $5 Indians today. The $5 Indian at $5.80. I'm not in Phoenix, so I don't know how many are left. There was only 43. The $10 Indian, price per ounce, that's the better buy. That's at $1,090. And then silver, we got word from the Bullion Bank today. All the silver that had been ordered 2+ weeks ago has finally shipped. They finally got it, and they finally shipped it. There's going to be one more opportunity. And that opportunity, I don't have a price today. That opportunity will come tomorrow. So those of you in silver, it will be very, very limited. They're telling me I'll get somewhere between 2, possibly 3 cases. That's it. And that silver's not even there yet. So the silver from the last time we sold it, it was supposed to be there last Monday. Didn't even show up until yesterday at 5 o'clock. So my guess is, and again, I don't know, the Mint, they were confident the last time they thought that would be it, but this will be it for silver. That'll come tomorrow. But put this gold away today. 800-951-0592. There's really not a scenario where I see any significant types of pullbacks. Doesn't matter who wins. Matter of fact, most of the election outcomes, it's just how high does gold go. Trump wins, gold goes higher. Trump wins, but the Democrats get the Senate. Gold goes even higher. Biden wins. Republicans keep the Senate. Gold goes even higher. Biden wins and the Democrats get the Senate. Gold will be even higher than that. Then you've got Corona. It's not necessarily here, but here will have an effect. But who shuts down? What countries shut down? Where are the mines that are shut down? Are the mints going to stay open? Are the people that process the silver into bars, are they going to be open? We don't know. But if it goes like it did the last time around, they're all going to be closed, and then the premiums rise significantly. So take advantage of these low premiums. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. God bless everybody. One more show in the frozen north before I head home to the Valley of the Sun.